You are listening to Max Pew, an actual play RPG podcast. Max Pew follows continuous storylines that are best enjoyed from the beginning. This Extra Life content was recorded in a public venue, previously aired during the Team WV Fox Marathon stream on May 4th, 2019, and may contain spoilers for its associated work. The following content may contain mature themes and adult language. Please enjoy part 1 of Head, Heart, Hands, Hell. We're on? Awesome. Move that page so you can see my beautiful mug. Thank you. My name is Jerad Bailey. I am team member for Team West Virginia Fox, raising money for Cincinnati Children's Hospital and Children's Miracle Network hospitals in general. You are watching the midnight shift. Things get a little wild and crazy at this point, I'm sure. Some of it because it's after hours and some of it because of delirium caused by some excessive somnolence. However, tonight we are going to be playing some Things from the Flood. Now, Things from the Flood is produced by Free League, also known as Free Leagan, and Modifius Entertainment. It is the long-awaited sequel to Tales from the Loop, which was like RPG of the Year back in 2017, if I recall correctly. So Things from the Flood is a lot like Tales from the Loop, if you have any familiarity with that, with the exception of where Tales from the Loop followed the children, kind of age 10 to 15. Things from the Flood's actually following kids between like the 14 to 21 range in that particular case. So we've got the older teens. So if there's any fans of Stranger Things, we're not really following the kids who have, happy fun time adventures and are never really in any threat. We're following like Steve and the teens who have a very real threat of death and harm as a result of them trying to solve these mysteries.
Taking the kid gloves off, is that what you're saying?
Oh, pretty much.
Yeah. Barb's going to die.
Now, yeah, Barb will probably die if she's an NPC. Now,
10-4, good buddy.
Yeah, so we're running into the situation where, like, in the late 60s, particle accelerators became a big deal. And the first one that was built was in Boulder, Colorado. The second, yet the largest and probably the most important, was built in Stockholm. Several years after that, when technology became a bit more affordable, the United States invested in a third one that was located in Blacksburg, Virginia, as a result of VPI, or as we know as Virginia Tech, kind of building one as part of their high-tech sector, or high-tech corridors, they call it, where they have all these sort of experimental technologies and stuff. Eric, drop that page down a little bit. Okay. No, you're good. It's so it's just like right there. This game is going to be taking place in my hometown, Princeton, West Virginia, which is about 50 minutes outside of Blacksburg, but certainly within this sort of sphere of influence of the loop in the Blacksburg area. Now, in the early to mid 90s, some things started happening to the loops. The first one that happened was in Stockholm. The loop began to flood, and no one's entirely sure why, but the loop began to flood with this murky brown water, and flooded to the point where like the surrounding areas became a marshland. And Sweden had to cordon this off as sort of like a no-fly zone, or like a quarantine zone that nobody could go into. A lot of the machines and stuff that had been kind of created as a result of these advancements from like loop technology have been starting to slowly but surely be decommissioned, as they aren't as capable, and they've been sort of like infected as a result of this brown water. Very recently, something similar happened to both the Boulder, Colorado, which actually resulted in the Hoover Dam breaking and flooding like the entire area, as well as the Virginia Tech loops. And it's caused closings as a result. So it's affected a lot of things. This was a lot of jobs that suddenly just went away, a lot of technological research and stuff that's just disappeared, and it's really affected this area. But as West Virginians, we have come to be resilient in the face of some of these tragedies. It's just, it's hitting the adults a lot harder than some of the other kids and stuff, since, the kids haven't really grown to the point to like really accept the whole gravity of this. But as teens who grew up basically born in, like the early 80s, you've been steeped in this like loop technology and loop lore. You have always known the loop. It has always been here. Unlike the adults where it kind of came and went during their lifetime, it's been during your entire lifetime. So all these advancements, things like robots, magnetron trucks that have used like the magnetic fields of the earth to kind of do these slow but heavy hauls of materials from one place to the other. Things like artificial intelligence and dinosaurs and all this stuff, you've just been kind of raised around. It was the norm, and now it's kind of starting to go away, and the adults were very quick to forget about these things, but we aren't. Now, this particular adventure is taking place like I said, in Princeton, West Virginia, and I believe we are in the year, I believe it's the summer of 97, if I recall correctly. I forget if it's 97 or 98.
It's 97.
It's 97, so it's the summer of 97. So it's the summer of 1997. All the characters here, and this is kind of a one-shot, so you all can kind of make up your relationships. But some of you have some relationships. Some of you may not actually be from Princeton, and that's okay too. Some of you may be from some outlying areas, like you might be from, Virginia, right on the border. You might be from like Charleston or Beckley or something like that. But it's assumed that most of you are probably from Princeton. And right now, all of you are actually members of 4-H. Now, 4-H is a local organization that, well, it's probably a bit more than just local, but in West Virginia, it's run by the West Virginia University Extension Services, and as a result, there's the potential for scholarships. And, a lot of you may have been members of 4-H as children, because it's a really good summer camp opportunity. It's pretty affordable, and there's a lot of good information you can get from there. And some, as a result of the loop, even now, some pretty good like STEM opportunities too, because it brought in a lot of educated individuals that were in the sciences field to kind of like help these students. Now that you're becoming a little bit older, you've kind of shifted from being a student at these 4-H camps to being kind of a volunteer or a mentor. Now, you're not a full-fledged like 4-H staff member. We've got those already, and these are kind of like educators in the area that kind of do this as a second job and during the summer or whatever to kind of pick up some extra money.
Well, like counselors, right?
A lot of them are like counselors.
Yeah.
But they do some of this stuff. They manage volunteers. They get people like, the students here to help out with the activities. They'll arrange things with like local fire department or police department or the baseball teams to just like have people come in and do activities with the kids, so they get to do some cool stuff. Plus, there's crafts, there's outdoor activities. And in Mercer County, which is where Princeton is, there's a very nice 4-H camp at Glenwood Park. Now, Glenwood Park, let's see here. I'll give you all a bit of a... Glenwood Park has picnicking shelters, playgrounds, hiking trails, and a 55-acre fishing lake. Now, there's two different entrances to Glenwood Park. The front entrance is where everybody goes to access all those things I just talked about. The back entrance is actually where the 4-H camp is. So there's like a small playground, there's lake access, and the 4-H camp. And then you can kind of take these walking trails that go all the way around the lake. So, I mean, it's if you want to run, it's a great scenic place to do it. But, like, if you want to do anything at the park, you go to the front entrance. But if you want to do 4-H, you go to the back entrance. Also at the back entrance is Glenwood School. Glenwood School is now a K through 8. So in this area, you've got a lot of elementary and middle schoolers, and it feeds into Princeton Senior High School. So if you went to Glenwood, you're going to be going to Princeton High. Chances are very good, unless you're in a weird district where you end up at Bluefield for whatever reason. But, this is kind of our map right here to kind of give you an idea of where stuff is in this area. So you all are going to be volunteering for the summer for the 4-H camp. Now, the way the camps are going to work out is that the first scheduled camps are going to be for the real little kids. We're talking K through 3, if I had to guess. And these are mainly just going to be day camps. So these kids are going to come in at about 7, 8 o'clock in the morning. The parents are going to drop them off before they go to work. They do the day camp thing. They have breakfast, play, crafts, all that stuff. Lunch, send them home. They're probably done by about 2 o'clock. Once you all sort of clean up and get your marching orders for the next day, you're probably wrapped up about 3 or 4 o'clock, and you all are staying at the dorms at the campsite.
Cool. So as long as we're up to get the kids whenever they arrive, the night of the camp.
Pretty much, because right now there's no overnight camp. So eventually, once the day camps are over, they're kind of transitioning you all, getting you used to the fact. And, maybe you can, make the dorms a little bit nicer, decorate them up a little bit, because there's a boys' dorm and a girls' dorm, and you might do something a little bit themed just to make it a little bit snazzy for when the kids come up. But basically, you have this park. You've got dorms with restrooms and everything. You've got a little eating area where you can make meals and stuff. It's essentially a cafeteria with a full kitchen. And you've got woods and a romantic lake and nothing but privacy and time on your hands.
What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? It's just everything you would want and more.
Excellent.
So, So actually, it is summer of '98. I've got it written here. If I just read the thing that I wrote, I have this problem where I write things and I don't remember what I wrote. So now, what we're going to do is we're all going to play a scene. Okay, so this is basically, think of this as a movie, and we're kind of introducing our characters before we all converge at the 4-H camp. So this is an opportunity for you to introduce your character, kind of introduce your family life or anything, what your home is like. And also one thing I want everyone to do, because you're packing for basically a week trip, and I don't really care about the shirts and the underwear and the pants and your toiletries and stuff. I want to hear what other sort of extracurriculars you're packing in your bag with you too, that you might take with you, because some of you may or may not have a vehicle. Some of you may or may not have extracurricular plans or anything. So this is kind of us sort of learning more about your character. We're going to start over to my left here. So tell us about your character.
Jonathan Scott. What they call a snob. I think that's an ugly term. But my drive is I want to break all the rules, not just some. It's a jam that's really important to me. It speaks to me. Sing a little bit of it right now. I believe I can fly. I believe I can touch the sky.
You can donate, ladies and gentlemen,
to stop this. The full version is available on SoundCloud.
Pressing the vinyl now.
I brought with me my iconic item, my loaded money clip, and yes, that's a $5 bill. I've got it going. $5.
Respect.
So is there
I've got it. It's called heartburn.
yeah, so what's family life like? Are your parents?
We don't even talk about that.
We don't even want to talk about it. Not even going to talk about
I'm
it.
going to talk about home.
So you're just at home, you're getting your bag, all the polos and
All
stuff.
my polos. I got my Abercrombie.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's 98.
It's
I got
98.
my sweet Abercrombie button-down shirts. I got my
Are any of them
khakis with
rugby
the rips.
They are. In the
He's got
college
the one that
lineup.
says it's all relative in West Virginia.
Got my expensive Revo sunglasses.
And a big
Dragon
and just a wad of cash,
That's right.
just in case.
Just in case.
All right. Any vehicle or anything like that, or I'm not sure if.
Got my Trans Am.
Of course
Okay,
you do.
you've got your Trans Am.
Of course you do.
It hurts.
All right. So the
Does it
camera.
have the bird on it? Does it have the bird on the roof, on the hood?
You had to pay extra for that.
Or they don't all come with
Yeah.
the bird.
You
Yeah.
gotta
But you're
pay
the
extra.
snob, so yes, it has
Yes.
the bird.
Yes. So
Why are you asking that?
so the camera is kind of like laid down in the suitcase as you like close it, so it fades to black, and we come to our next character.
All right. Well, this is going to be Alejandro Morales, and he is 16. Currently, packing kind of an upstairs bedroom. Things look a little bit shabby, even though it's like it might be like the upstairs of like lower class townhouse, and sitting like next to this suitcase full of like black t-shirts and jeans is a guitar case. Although the acoustic that goes in it hasn't been packed yet. There is, I guess, tossing in the last few necessities. But I don't really have a whole lot to carry. Make sure I got my chain wallet tucked in, and my guitar is good. Get some extra picks. Throw some condoms in there with it, and it's pretty much it. There's a CD playing the most recent Nine Inch Nails, and it's a similar NIN T-shirt going on. Kind of got some tears in it, like it's been through a couple fights.
The long sleeve under the short sleeve.
Yeah, no, it's like the this is '98, so it's going to be like the white thermal shirt with the black
Yeah.
T-shirt over it.
Yeah. When it gets cold, you put your flannel on. And,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You triple layer it.
And the I've got like one half of my head shaved and the rest of it dyed black and poured over top of it, and that's kind of where this character is. He kind of like hears a yell from downstairs, and he just like sighs, rolls his eyes, and then reluctantly puts his guitar in the case and packs it up and starts getting it.
So the camera's inside of like the hole in the
Yeah.
guitar, so you can kind of see like the strings, and then the guitar case.
Yeah, and as it
Closes.
closes, you can hear
You fade to
my
black.
parents yelling at each other.
Yeah, that happens. The guitar case closes, fade to black. We're now.
Your fade to black is then the front cover of a Sony Walkman CD player, as Molly Johnson is popping in her favorite AC/DC album and hitting, of course, Thunderstruck, before putting on her headphones and taking off on a sprint because she's got to keep in shape.
Okay.
She's the jock, and she's got these scholarship prospects, and no one's ever going to beat me. I'm only going to be the best person on the team every time, every year. So she is, the camera then pans to her just running. And that's all she's doing. She's running, and doesn't care about camp. She doesn't care. But, it's a summer job. Help pay some of your bills.
Okay.
That's her in a nutshell.
All right. You're running like on the sidewalk, and as like sort of like you do this cross cut with like a semi or something, you see like kind of like fades to white because of the plain white semi, and then we're now cut to your scene.
On top of a 1986 Honda Civic in legs, knees on either side, feet to the middle position on the roof of the Civic, with hands in lotus pose, eyes closed, waving hair blowing subtly against the breeze, with the lake just in the distance where the Civic is parked in the parking lot at the park near the back entrance.
Already there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so the meditation session finished. Morgan Jenkins jumps down from the top of the car, gives a stretch, pulls out the headphones that he has on, and pushes stop on the Discman so that the Orinoco flow of Enya ceases. He probably even says namaste or thank you or I am grateful or whatever recent thing he's learned from whatever other book he picked up. He takes both of the crystals off of the hood of the Civic and stuffs one in each pocket, pats to make sure his all-important stash is safe, and jumps into the car to move from the lake parking lot to staff parking.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, we've got So you close the door, and as you pull off, you're kind of left with like this scenic view of trees and stuff. And we sort of pan up to a cloudless sky, and it's sort of blue. And now we come to you.
Yeah, my name's Walter Diaz. I'm from the streets. I'm the only one tough enough to take care of this bunch. Plus, I'm the only one. It's just me and my grandpa that live together, so I don't know. I like to just stand around, smoke cigarettes, play with my butterfly knife. You know how it is.
All right. Anything extra you're packing for your bag for camp, or
Smoke some butterfly knife.
smokes and a butterfly knife? That's it. Just like couple
Maybe some-
packs of.
I'll take some. We'll take some liquor too.
You take some liquor. Okay. You're gonna have some fun.
This is a theme for you in these games, Eric.
It wasn't
All right.
liquor last.
You put this like
Me and Walter are old.
But the stash is already taken.
yeah. So you toss this stuff in and you zip the duffel bag and it fades to black. And now we're with you.
And as it fades to black, it slowly fades back in upwards, and you hear scribbling on a notepad from a Sharpie. And as it pans up, it pans to a girl in with dyed blonde tips and black hair, hoodie pulled up over her head,
Yes.
drawing on her bed.
I know her.
we went to school.
And she, as she's sitting there scribbling, you could hear her mother yell at her from somewhere in the house, possibly the living room, although it can be heard just as clear as day, asking her if she's packed, and of course she replies, yes, whatever. And as she's packing everything, and the last thing that she packs is that notepad. And as she throws the notepad in and closes the the lid of it, it fades to black. But one last thing, you hear her mother yell, "Did you pack food?"
So we've got an introduction of our characters. Now, we're going to take a look at our character sheets real quick because just to go over some of the stuff for our audience as well. So these are pre-generated characters. We'll talk a little bit more about character building, but we've got our name, our type, which is kind of our class. Our class sort of dictates our special skills. These are the skills that we can put more than 1 point into. So you'll see that you've got some skills that are as high as 3. Those are probably your class skills. Your age is kind of important because once you become like an official adult, like you can age out of this because at some point you just got to grow up. Favorite song is my favorite thing that they put in here that has no mechanical benefit, but it just gives you an idea immediately of like what that character's like. And we've talked about that before. It's not good enough to know that your favorite band is Queen. You know, is your favorite song We Will Rock You? Is it Fat Bottom Girls? Is it I Want to Break Free? Is it Somebody to Love?
Or is it Train Kept Rolling by Aerosmith because your favorite song is different from your favorite band?
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, it tells you a lot more about this particular character. Your drive is something that is kind of like your high concept for anyone that's watched like our Fate games. So this is something that kind of pushes you to act. For example, this particular character, their drive is the adults can't protect us. So that's something that defines them. They don't trust the adults to be able to make the right decisions. So it's going to push this particular character to do things. Your anchor is someone that is very important to you, that is going to help you like fix your conditions. Now, your anchor, you're never going to have any type of like strife or trouble with unless you cause that to happen.
Right.
So this is someone that you trust. This is not someone that I'm going to like throw curveballs at you. Like for this particular case, the Raver, their anchor is the record store clerk. The record store clerk's never going to throw them out of the store. They're never going to not be available to them. That's just someone that they can go to help them out. Now, your problem is kind of like your trouble in the Fate games that we were listening to earlier. So for this particular character, my older brother accused mom of terrible things. This is something that we can kind of compel to, if we had a longer campaign going, to keep this story going. Now we want to try to get this girl into a scene with, her brother and her mom, just to see kind of what happens to flesh that out. The next thing is your shame. Now, this was kind of your pride in the last game. It was something you're really proud of, and they've changed it this time around. This is shame is something that you feel a lot of remorse for, but as a result, you can compel that once per session to get a free success. So, for example, here, the shame for this character's dad is in prison. So to be able to compel that, like, everybody thinks I'm a screw up, and I'm going to show them just because my dad's in prison, they think that I'm a failure too. So like you can compel that to really push yourself to be able to fix this particular problem. People may know about your shame, people may not, but that's just kind of like how the character building goes. The description was here to kind of give you an idea of where you were as far as like age and graduate level. We do have one character here that's kind of like failed a grade in this particular case, so it kind of explains some of like the math discrepancy. The next section on your character sheet is your relationships, and I kind of did like a little bit of mind mapping to try to create relationships with people. So there were 10 pre-gens.
Wait a minute, can you stop there?
Yeah.
Could you explain mind mapping to me, please? What does that mean? What did mind mapping?
Is this your character asking?
No, this is me, the player, wondering what does that mean? What is the term mind mapping?
He showed me this. It was like the old relationship charts from the old World of Darkness adventures.
So basically, I had all 10 characters, and I'd drawn lines between them, and it was like a massive spider web of like who is related to what. So basically, everyone here has relationships to 4 other characters. Now, it's assumed that all of you know each other, that you're in like that have been in 4-H together. You're at least acquaintances. So, for example, here, Jamie, this isn't really much of a spoiler, but Jamie Murphy, for example, has a relationship with Anna Wynn. Anna doesn't seem to like me, but I'd want to change that. So if this were actually a PC here, that would be kind of like something that those 2 characters would have going on. Do we have a Jonathan Scott?
Right here. We're best friends, yo.
Okay, Jonathan Scott. Best friends. Jonathan and I go way back. Holy crap, did I pick someone that had all 4 here? Is there Molly Johnson?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Molly Johnson. Molly's an awesome athlete, and I'm her number 1 fan. And then we've got Morgan Jenkins, right?
What's your name again? I'm sorry.
This is Jamie Murphy.
Yeah.
I've got her listed babysitter. I've never had a bad trip with Morgan.
That's not what the text says.
Well, that's what
the text spells it out. It says Jamie Murphy is my pot pal. That me and Jamie get high.
Well, I mean, some of them might not be reciprocal. There might be one that's like, I have a crush on him, but he doesn't have a crush on me. But like that's so some of you might already have some inbuilt relationships going on.
Yeah.
Now, next thing is your items. Now, everybody gets an iconic item. Your iconic item never really goes away. You just kind of have it. And if you can explain why your iconic item might come in handy in a particular check, you get 2 additional dice when you roll. So in this particular case, the Raver, her iconic item is spray cans. So maybe she likes a little bit of graffiti or something like that. So anything where spray cans could, she's, I live, I die, I live again.
Like the gold stuff really is good.
Yeah. So, but there's a lot of things that spray cans can be useful for, and if you could explain why they're useful, you get a +2. Now, the other item, I gave everyone just kind of like an ancillary item. Now, that could probably go away. We could take that one away if it needs to, but like your iconic item, it stays there. That's the thing that kind of defines you. It's like, like for Steve, it's kind of like that baseball bat that he had in the trunk, for example, or I'm trying to think of some of the other characters, but like, any of them that have like just that's their thing. That's what they use. I've got notes here that kind of tell you about that character to give you an idea of what your strengths and weaknesses are. That way you know what you kind of need to push as far as like, party makeup. And then on the left are your stats. The stats break down to two different types. You've got attributes. Those numbers should add up to 14. Basically, that's kind of a base for what everything you do is. And below that are your skills. And each skill is going to be tied to an attribute. So, for example, for Jamie Murphy, who is a raver, she is pretty good at charm. So if I were to make a charm roll, she's got 2 points in charm, and it is keyed off of hard. So I'd also add hard. So for her, 5 + 2 is 7. I would roll 7 dice. And we're rolling D6s tonight. Everything is D6s.
I'm going to need more dice because
I've got a whole thing here.
I just brought those.
I've got a whole thing there. You all can divvy those out however you want. And I believe the maximum anyone will probably need is like 10 or 11.
How's that?
That is wonderful. When you are rolling, basically all you need to do is get a single 6. That's all you're looking for. Now, if it's an increased difficulty, if it's extremely difficult, I'll be looking for 2 successes, and if it's nearly impossible,
I have a bunch.
I'll be looking for 3 successes, but nothing will ever go past 3 difficulty. 76 is what I need here. Now, if you get in excess of your,
You can come to the woods.
All right, I'll bring my iPod.
Okay. We got a party started. You want to invite somebody?
We're pre-prepped.
Old buddy Molly.
Yeah, if you get in excess,
I gotta invite Miles.
What?
Miles expected me to.
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
cool.
sorry.
Yeah.
Miles.
yeah, if you get in excess of your successes, you can actually get bonus effects, and we'll talk about that once we start rolling
He is
dice.
my man. You can go.
The last 2 things at the bottom are conditions and scars. Conditions are kind of your hit points in this game. When there's any type of consequence of a roll, I'm going to tell you what that consequence is ahead of time. So it might be, you're confronted by 3 bullies, and if you fail this roll, you're going to get the crap kicked out of you, and you're going to become injured. If you check all 4 conditions and you have to check a 5th condition, you become what is called broken, and then you fail every roll after that. When you become broken, you gain a scar. Scars are bad because the more scars you have, the greater your chance of dying. That's right, you can die in things from the flood. The cool thing about scars is that they are kind of like your shame as well, and that they can be compelled once in your life to kind of, get through something. So let's say one of your scars is, I lost 3 fingers on my left hand, for example. You might be able to compel that later to think, I've seen this happen before, I'm not going to let this happen again to someone, and be able to get an auto success out of that. The difference is where shame is once per session, scars are like once ever. There are ways to remove scars eventually, but we're probably not going to get to that point. So I've rambled on long enough. Let's play some things from the flood. You all have made your way by various means. You may have driven yourself. You may have carpooled. You may have had a parent drop you off at the 4-H camp in Glenwood, just between Bluefield and Princeton, West Virginia. You all are convening for basically your kind of staff meeting, and it is being run by what is her name? Her name is April Stout. This is April Stout. She doesn't look like
mocked in high school or anything.
Yeah, she doesn't look like anyone we know at all. No one. I mean, that's completely.
And what was her name?
Her name is April Stout.
April Stout.
April Stout. So April Stout is kind of like your main contact for the 4-H camp. She is kind of doing orientation and getting to know everyone, doing the icebreakers, everything everybody hates about, getting together and doing all this stuff.
Is there a cheer? Is there a cheer to like round us up and get us ready?
Well, there's a
God,
cheer.
no.
I mean, there's a cheer because you have to
cheer.
you have to learn the cheer to be able to get the kids ramped up because that's part of the ritual is to have some type of like morning words or something like that. It's important for the kids.
It's for the kids.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
think of the children.
yeah. So April's actually been a long-time fixture for these camps, and if anyone's been to these camps within the last half dozen years, you know April Stout, and April Stout knows you. So if there's been anyone that's been to the camp recently, she's going to call you out by name. It's like, oh, hey, how are you doing? Like it's good to see you as a volunteer this time around. Very cheerful, very happy to have you. April will start the first day with the introduction of all the volunteers, including some extra volunteers. So it's not just the 6 of you here. So we've got like Amanda Young, Adam Wright, Andrea Thompson. We'll come up with more later.
Those are good West Virginia names because I'm pretty sure I went to school or worked with all of those people.
I've got Amanda and Andy.
Hey.
Amanda, Adam, Amy, Jennifer, Lisa, and Ryan.
I don't know all those people. I mean,
They've been introduced. So basically, there's like about a dozen volunteers here right now.
I know, right?
Mix of male and female.
cool.
From various and sundry places. I got a rollable table.
Nice.
All this and more when you purchase this adventure later or donate what you want. We'll talk about that later.
All of them, because I'm one of the most well-connected teens. Got business cards already.
Business
What do they
cards.
look like?
My God, they
What
even
do they
have a
look like?
watermark.
They look brown because that's the color of his nose and all those connections.
Yeah, one more thing is my character's such a douche. His shame is I can't help but feel I matter more than other people. That's my great shame.
That's a shame.
I can't
that's a
stop it.
shame.
Yeah, it's the
It's a
self-love.
pride.
It's just,
Yeah.
Very
No
humble
point of
brag
attention.
shame.
The pride is to the
Yeah.
point where it's a shame.
But yeah, you may or may not know any of these kids as well, or I should say teens as well. So like you all can determine. But we've got a nice big group here. Maybe this is the clique. Maybe this is the clique right here. The
Well,
teens that know each
I
other.
wish Jamie was here.
Jamie.
Yeah, she'd be cool to have, but I guess she couldn't make it.
Yeah.
couldn't make it this year.
Yeah. Jamie. I made it ambiguous.
Oh.
I thought she was the raver, right? That you were describing earlier.
Yeah, but I made the Jamie
It's so
ambiguous if
weird.
it's male or female.
It's on here. It's male.
Okay, it's entirely possible. I may have been going like the Lannister
It just
route or
says
something like
he.
that.
Jamie'd be cool. I like.
I'm gonna
that.
spend some time alone without Jamie.
Not
Jamie is loud.
Jamie's loud. Yeah, several of you may
I call
have.
him an imposter.
Yeah, some of you may have opinions about Jamie. Maybe, maybe not.
Nah, she's cool but loud.
So, the itineraries for the day camp are pretty flexible, especially the first day. So, first of all, the first thing that you all are actually going to do is some arts and crafts to kind of warm the kids up a little bit. After they've been sitting there for a while, you all are going to take them outside and do some
Run 'em.
do some kickball.
We're gonna run them.
Yeah, we're we're going to do some kickball. That should probably get some energy out. After that, there's going to be a little bit of like a nutrition and cooking class, and then they're going to finish it off with like snack time. So basically, whatever they made, maybe trail mix or something like that, they're going to be able to snack on that. And that's pretty much the day's activities today.
Cool.
Okay.
So April Stout gives you kind of like the marching orders and just like, help out wherever you can. You've been to these camps before, you know how it works, but these are our activities today. Just interact with the kids and have a good time and, enjoy yourselves. So, we're not going to play out.
Brownie recipe.
So we're not going to play out like each of those individually. I just kind of want to like, this is that sort of montage scene where everybody is kind of doing something, and we'll kind of look at whatever activity. So we'll start this side right here. So which of these activities do you think you'd be most likely to help out with, if any of them? Because you can pretty much do whatever you feel like.
I have a feeling that Anna might help with the food stuff.
Okay. So like the cooking and stuff like that? Okay. So let's see. How would you help out with that? Like, are you guiding the kids, or are you just kind of taking charge, or?
Well, she has a serious comprehension of all the recipes and stuff of that nature.
Okay.
So she can help teach the kids how to do these things and guide them into,
Okay. So I would like for you to make a lead check. So what you're going to do is lead
Heart.
is. Yeah. So where's?
I was trying to
lead
use
right here?
comprehension.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, tell me how you would do. Okay. So yeah, comprehend. So lead would have been like if you're trying to teach these kids. Comprehend is going to be having the right piece of information or be able to find it in like the school library or some similar location. So to have the right piece of information would be like someone says, let's make this particular dish, and you just know what the recipe is. Okay.
Right. That's what I was going for.
So yeah, like, so we'll have this scene where like April's trying to find like, her box of recipes that she has, and she just can't find this. Like, how in the world are we supposed to make this, whatever. So yeah, go ahead and make me a comprehend roll and see if you know how to make, it's going to be like that Chex Puppy Chow with the chocolate morsels and the powdered sugar, and she's not entirely sure how exactly to make it, but Anna might know.
It is delicious.
Anna probably does know.
Yeah, let's see what Anna knows.
6,
Single success.
3, 2, 2.
Yeah, we're just looking for
4.
sixes here. So we got a single success. Okay. Now this is going to work out just fine. If we needed more, we'll talk about that later. But this is just kind of a scene you're having. So we've got one scene where Anna is just kind of like, April's sort of like stressing out over the recipe that she needs to use. And Anna's just like going through the kitchen and grabbing stuff off the shelf and mixing it up. And like, perfect puppy chow. The kids love it, because it's sugar and chocolate or whatever. And April's like, oh, you're a lifesaver. Thank you so much. I don't know what I did with that recipe. Could you write that down for me?
Possibly.
Okay.
She pulls out her notepad and Sharpie and just
It starts writing down the recipe. Okay, that's so like
immediately.
Yeah, so good impression on April. Okay, we'll go over here. What activity do you think you
What are
would
my
be?
choices?
So we're starting off the day with arts and crafts. We're going to run off some energy with kickball. Then there's going to be nutrition and cooking, and then meals and snacks. But you could do whatever you want if you want to interject a different activity. If you want to blow this off completely, like what would you're going to blow it off? Okay. All right. So all right. So here's the thing with blowing the events off. Like how are you going to do this? Because there's a bunch of other teams that are going to be trying to pull their own weight. Especially since this is kind of like a competitive scholarship. So that's one thing I didn't mention to the viewers. Everyone pretty much has the same type of friction right now, is that everyone's kind of also vying for the same competitive 4-H scholarship. So they're kind of friends, but at the same time, like they really need like the college money. So they're trying to put their best foot forward. And some of you may or may not be here to do that. Some of you may or may not care, but there is only just the one scholarship. So you're interested in blowing this off completely. Yeah. How are you going to pull this off?
I'm going to sneak away.
You're going to sneak away?
Chug.
Okay.
About 8 minutes.
So you're going to sneak away. We're going to call this. I'm going to say this might be very difficult because you've got a bunch of kids that are looking for activities. You got 11 other teens that would probably just be dying for the opportunity to rat on you. So it's going to be very difficult for you to be able to get away with this scot-free. So you'll need 2 successes when you make this check.
So I add my body and my sneak.
Correct. Yeah.
I got you.
2. That's all you need. So you successfully blow this off. You're kind of waiting for the coast to be clear. You see that everyone's kind of active, and everyone likes kickball. I don't care what age you are. You like kickball. So you're kind of waiting for like kickball to get started, and you just like kind of peace off, and you go behind the buildings and kind of around there, and you know, the last thing we see is like you behind a building and you like lighting up a cig. Yeah. Okay. So
No,
what
this is without a doubter here. This is arts and crafts.
arts and
Imagine that Morgan is kind of like got the Play-Doh already out and like construction paper and safety scissors and just is like, okay, children, you know,
Yeah.
today we will be making art. Please keep your voices down so that we can maintain balance in the energies that surround us while we search for our muse.
Okay, so I'm sensing one of 2 different things here. I'm sensing that you could use something like charm, which is the ability to charm, lie, befriend, and make people do what you want. Or alternatively, you could use lead, which is the ability to make your friends work together to help them focus on the task at hand in difficult situations and to soothe them when they are scared or confused. So I'll let you interpret that however you want.
Yeah, so Morgan is a leader. He's a born leader, and people are naturally drawn to him.
Okay.
And so he says genuinely nice things about the kids' art, and tries to show them the ways they can improve it without like hurting their feelings.
Yeah.
Of his ability.
Okay.
Constructive
And
criticism.
so it's a leadership, and for the record, I'm rolling 7 dice
Yeah.
on my leadership.
So, I mean-
you actually give a damn.
Yeah. So
You
and,
genuinely give it.
You must give to the earth to receive from the earth. When praises go out, blessings come back.
wow, you're only looking for 1 success in this particular case because you're doing your job. And
Ladies and gentlemen, it's bound to happen in this game, but we just got 6.
all right. So
Got 2 more.
what you did was you actually
Jeez.
you actually get bonus effects as a result of this. So what I'm going to say is there's not really any appropriate. So normally you could heal an additional condition off of someone, so you could use leadership to kind of give people a pep talk. Alternatively, you could heal one of your.
I've got an idea.
Okay.
My friend over here, what's your name again?
Walter.
Walter. I had it worked out with Walter. And so if he wants to skip more than kickball and smoke cigs, like I succeeded so hard at that I also like somehow aided his getaway during kickball.
Okay.
Save it for something.
So
Yeah.
I need you to go get all of the macaroni you can because we're making macaroni.
Yes, and
Yeah.
so you not only missed kickball, but you also missed if you're willing to do that.
Yeah, I'm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's what we'll say. Like in the event you need him to blow anything off, leadership allows you to kind of create a dice pool. So this is like your own natural ability to muster people to be able to do a job. So normally what you would do in a situation that isn't like teaching kids is if you gave the teens a pep talk, for every success that you get, you create a dice pool of 2 dice that anyone could kind of pull from to be able to augment their roles. So since not
Hold
only
on, the hippie kid is going to give pep talks?
potentially, so what I will do is not only do you succeed at being able to teach these kids, I want to create a dice pool of 4 dice
Okay.
that can be used anytime anyone's trying to basically blow off their responsibilities.
Very cool.
Okay,
Yeah.
because that's what you're trying to. You're camping so hard right now that you're like basically running blocker for everybody
Well,
else.
you know that you're
You're
good.
camp
Yeah.
counseling for like 3 of us.
Yeah, and the dice pool will show for it. So there's just like a dice pool of 4 dice right now that anyone can pull from. So over here,
Well, just as Morgan's, I guess, job was so clear, so is Molly's. She is helping with kickball,
Okay.
But she is way too into the kickball game.
All right.
She is participating with these young children,
Okay.
not just coaching. So,
Can't keep her off the field.
no, you cannot. And we're talking like second graders that she's playing with.
You're
and
fast pitching.
She's actually up to kick right now. And
Little Johnny doesn't stand a chance.
No. So she's going 100% right now in this game.
She's going
She
to run
wants to
the.
knock a kid's head off.
She's going to run the score up on poor Skylar over here.
Yeah.
So, so it sounds like you're going full into it. So, I would say I'd go with either force or move. So the difference: force is the ability to lift heavy objects, fight, and endure physically demanding situations. Alternatively, move is the ability to climb high, balance, run fast, chase someone, or get away. And I'll let you kind of dictate what.
It's a difference of one die. So
Well, you tell me what you're doing.
I'm going to use force. She's
Force?
trying to deflate.
You're pushing
the
yourself.
kickball.
This is like a high intensity training type of workout. Like, okay.
And I'm rolling 8 die.
Nice.
She's looking to create a 40.
You're stronger than I am.
The one that got it over the
I
lake.
only got
People
about
talk to
one.
you. Like,
One success? One success is all you need. So you've got like this little kid like pitching, and you've got like that perfect. I don't know if anyone's had much like in soccer or kickball where like you can tell with the lead up, like the way you're stepping up on this ball. You can tell from the lead up this one's going places. And you kick this ball, and you see like the kids kind of like run towards the middle, but it's like 20 feet over their head, and like it's gonna like.
I can circle the bases 4 times.
Yeah, so
You're gonna have to go get the ball.
So thankfully, like it's going really close to like going past the cabin that like he's hiding behind, and like some kid's going to have to go back there and retrieve the ball. Thankfully, it bounces off the building, so like kind of saves him from having to sneak off a little bit harder. Next, what type of activity or not
every
activity?
Single one of the activities here is terrible and depressing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick with my people, specifically Morgan, who I will probably stick to kind of inappropriately. And so whatever Morgan's into, I will kind of be there to help out and just be around and this kind of dull, I guess, but just kind of be there because that's more important than anything else. Because everything about this place, including the scholarship, just depresses me. The fact that I need a scholarship depresses me. The fact that I'm not going to get it depresses me. Morgan does not.
Okay. So let's see here. So are you trying to support Morgan in what she's doing with arts and crafts, or are you actually trying to help the kids?
Actually, my kind of like against my black t-shirt wearing soul, Morgan actually her Morgan's cheer actually works on me, and I can't explain it, but I'm attracted to it. So
okay,
yeah.
So tell me how you are helping these kids out, and I'm giving you basically the same options. There's leadership, where you're actually getting in there, or there might be charm, where you're basically like bad cop, where you're trying to keep kids on task before she can get over to them and give them the one-on-one attention.
I think what I'm actually maybe going towards a different way, because those aren't really the things that my character kind of relates to. He's so full of his own emotions. Mm-hmm. He has trouble with other people's. But I can kind of, I've got a lot of empathy, and I kind of see the kids who aren't necessarily getting what she's trying to teach, and I will basically find them and point them in the right direction and help them out.
So that really sounds like empathize.
Yeah, that's what I'm going.
Okay, so yeah, make me a empathy check here.
I have lots of that. There are 2 6s.
2 successes. So you just needed the one. So empathize is the ability to study what makes a person, an animal, or conscious robot or android tick and how to find its weaknesses. You need time to study or talk to the creature or person to be able to test the skill. If you succeed, you get to ask 2 questions. Now, there's not really anything to ask unless you really want to know about, this kid, Sierra.
If Sierra needs to talk, then we'll let her talk.
Okay.
Because I know how sucky life is, and I can relate.
Yeah. So you've got one particular kid by the name of Sierra that you can talk to. Sierra is currently basically splitting time between parents.
No, God.
So basically, mom drops her off and dad picks her up. And that's kind of like the summer situation. It's kind of the split right now. She's kind of handling it pretty well, but it's still very stressful for her. And she's an only child too, so there's not like any other siblings or anything to kind of like to kind of like really lean on or anything like that. But she seems to really like the one-on-one attention because even though it should seem like she should be getting like some undivided attention from both of her parents now, they're both like just so busy. Really,
my parents are also full of their own crap and can't really pay attention.
Yeah. So those are 2 questions. Also, let's see here. So it seems like she just, likes the companionship, and she kind of takes a liking to you too, because it's also like that whole, like you're a grade school kid and you get crushes real easy. Like if you're that type of kid, even though you're like 12 years older and way out of league or whatever. So you kind of get this sense that maybe she's got like that little elementary school kind of like crush shy thing on you. That being said, any other interactions you have with Sierra, you'll get to add a die to in the event you need to like ask her anything or if she's seen anything or anything like that.
Out of there.
All right.
So now we're...
Car got really dirty on the way in the dirt road, so I got to wash my car.
Okay, so you're just gonna
wash my car.
You're gonna go wash your car. Okay, so here's the situation. Like Glenwood itself is a pretty small area, so what you would have to do is you'd have to drive away from the park, and it's all paved, really. So, like, anyone's saying, like, dirt roads, like, dude, you weren't anywhere close to a dirt road, but your car's still dirty. There was a drive. You can't,
he hit a mud
you
bump.
can't just, like, show this off and not, like, so the closest car wash is over closer to, like, Bluefield. So you go down, basically, Mercer Mall Road until you get to close to where it intersects with 460. And there's a car wash there that is... That is
saying a hose at camp.
No, well, I mean, there's a. Oh, do you want to do like the shirtless car wash thing?
The shirtless.
I'm sorry,
car wash
I
thing.
thought we were going to Scrubbies. We're doing the shirtless car wash thing.
Car wash.
Okay, yeah, you can absolutely go over there, and you find like a water hose, and it's like, yeah, you find a water
from the hose.
Yeah, you find. Do you want to have a head on it or not? Is there even a head on the hose?
No.
No,
we're
not
doing
even.
it with the thumb.
Yeah, do it with the thumb. So, okay. Now, this is a pretty bold gambit. Are you doing it like shirtless or
shirtless?
Shirtless.
What seduce the camp counselor?
What's the what's the short situation? On a scale of knee to nutsack, where do the bottom of these shorts?
1998. They're 4-inch shorts. They're about right here. They're not. They're
not quite about like runner shorts.
Calf, yeah.
Okay.
Runner shorts, not
right.
3-inch, but yeah, about 4-inch shorts.
Just not
Wearing his sister's
It's like never thought uttered that on a scale of nuts to knees.
All right.
So, Workman here.
We have some exciting new language.
What is the new language?
So, he has decided that he's just going to wash his car. Like shirtless, running shorts,
Yes.
water hose without the head on it, just like, washing the car. So this is pretty bold. We hope you enjoyed this Extra Life content. If you are interested in updates from Team WV Fox, follow us on Facebook. In addition to event updates and details, there are opportunities to win some excellent prizes. If you would like to support Max Pugh and WV Fox, please visit bit.ly/MaxPewPew to make a tax-deductible donation today. All donors supporting my donation efforts will be announced at the end of every Extra Life episode on Max Pugh. This week, I would like to thank the White family and our anonymous donors for their donation to Team WV Fox and Cincinnati Children's Hospital. I would also like to thank Free League for donating a copy of the Alien RPG 40th Anniversary Special Edition hardcover. Please look forward to the official Team WV Fox Marathon event. Music provided by Tabletop Audio. 10-minute ambiances for games and stories. Find out more at tabletopaudio.com.